What's up, guys?
No.
Welcome.
No. So cooked.
Welcome to Trims and Talk.
What's going on?
All the credits.
I just wanna talk with my brothers, is that too much to ask? Might as well look sharp, cause I'm doing it too. Trims and talk. Trims and talk. Trims and talk. I wanna know.
Entertainment.
We're running, aren't we?
If we can move it this way. Yeah.
Are we running now?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Absolutely, as always. Hey, Ayden, it's really brilliant to have you here. I know you've done it before, haven't you?
Yeah, the last time
I
you
think
came.
you did it when Lungani was trying to sort of go unilateral.
Yes, I was trying to kind of set my own
And
thing,
sort
you
of
know what I'm
do-
saying, in this absence.
Lungani Sabanda show.
Well,
It's
it would have
Trimmed
worked,
and
man.
Talk.
Well-
Donald and Lungani.
Well, I'm Trims and he's talk.
We're really pleased to have you here today.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've just been talking there about boxing, but I was saying to you as we were coming up, because I've known you the last couple of years, and I know you through Fade's Barbershop, know you through the Friday night Black Man Chat, and there's some lively chat there, isn't there? And you're always the youngest there, and it's that which I want, just as an opener, really, which is, why are you in these sort of? Because some young people would find that setting of, basically, I'm 65 and there's other guys that are in the same age there. That's a big age difference to where big man talk.
Yeah. I know it's funny because whenever I tell people that the average age of my friends is like 50, they're like, what? Why are you doing that ground work? Like, do you know what I mean? But like I said before, I think I don't know, I feel like I can resonate more with people from the old generation. Like, what's that saying? Like, old head on young shoulders or whatever it is. Like, that's kind of me. Like, if I was to summarize myself up, like, I prefer being around older people. Like I said, I think they teach me more than people my age do. People my age are very much living quite fast-paced lives, like living in the moment, don't really know what they're doing next week, never mind in next year or whatever. And I think when you learn from older people and you're just around older people, you can visualize like where you want to be and what, like I said, what mistakes to make, what
So what
goals
sort
to
of
set.
things you think you've learned from being in that setting with older people then?
I think how to deal with people is a big one. I think like when I was 18, 19, even probably up to 2021, I was very much like insensitive to other people and didn't really care about like didn't care about the impact, but maybe wasn't aware of just little things of how you speak to people. And whereas like hanging with older people, they'll kind of put you in check. Like you can't deal with people like that because it's gonna end up batting you, in the arse kind of thing later down the line. I think that's a big one. Like deal with people. For me, that's the biggest one, I would say.
So, it was nice kind of seeing you at the live Trims and Talk, kind of conversation last Sunday, and your contribution. But I was kind of surprised because you say, like from basically running your own business, now you're concentrating solely on boxing. Why the shift?
You know what it was? Like, I kind of fell into business by accident, really. Like I said, I was boxing before, dropped out of school to commit to boxing full time, picked up just a retail job to, have a job because my parents are basically like, if you're going to drop out of school, you best do something a bit other than just boxing, basically. So I had a retail job, then lockdown hit, so then obviously I got made redundant at 17, 18, whatever that was. Then kind of used that money to get qualified, start my own business. But I even fell into starting my own business through boxing. Like I was coaching at a boxing gym, and I met a guy there who had his own online fitness business, and that's kind of how he introduced me to his people kind of thing, and then that's how I started it. So that was always really a stepping stone to make my own money to be able to support myself to focus on boxing. But then over time, I guess I got comfortable making money and not getting punched in the face. And it was just kind of like, well.
That sounds all right.
Yeah. And I was like, and obviously at a young age, I was making decent money as well. Like I was probably making like $3.5-4 grand a month at 20 years old, which obviously all my peers are in university. They're on like 200 quid a week or whatever there, and it's like I felt like I don't need to box. Like,
So you really needed to be at the thing on Sunday, didn't you? You know, about money.
No, that's it. Because you was one of the people actually I did think about, initially before we were Jerome. But I know you are busy. He's constantly busy doing everything. Because sometimes I just look through social media, just for some entertainment. He comes out with the most outlandish stuff, but in a cool way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now you are back full time as just doing boxing. So does it mean your I'll say social media stuff kind of takes a back seat, or?
No, to be honest, it goes hand in hand. Like, because like at the minute I'm in the process of like trying to get sponsorship, which obviously, if I've got a big audience, big fan base, that helps, because at the end of the day it shows that I'm a prospect for in the future. I'll be able to sell tickets and get attention. And also, if someone's attached their business to my name, they want eyeballs on their business. You know what I mean? There's kind of two paths that people go down. Either they want to sponsor you for marketing purposes, or they want to sponsor you just kind of be affiliated with you and what you're going to achieve.
How many followers do you have then?
Altogether across socials, about 10,000, I think.
So it's a good number then, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still baby numbers compared to, like, don't know, it's decent numbers, and I probably do reach like 500,000 views a month on social, which is decent, but I can do a lot more. But I'm that busy with training that I can't put out as much as I want, but I'm trying. If you know what I mean.
Or possibly in the long run, you end up with your own team that you are doing, behind the scenes stuff. Because a lot of those social sort of like influencers, so to speak, have that kind of teams behind the scenes and what have you. So doesn't it take a toll though on your, like making sure that you have all these different things that you're juggling? I mean, it must take a toll though.
That was kind of why I stepped back from all the business stuff I was doing, because I just realized like I don't have the mental capacity to deal with all the stress of business and waking up to think about that, and then also all the stress that boxing brings and all the mental side of that. Like I was in the championships last month. Won the first fight by knockout, lost my second fight by knockout, so I got knocked out.
What?
Not knocked out, I got stopped by a guy that I should have beat really, but I went in there kind of, I'm quite a slow starter and he's a quick starter, so the first round he just blasted me quick, and I kind of panicked and lost my composure. And in amateur boxing you can get stopped quite easily. If the referee sees that you've taken a big shot, they'll step on you quick, you know what I mean? And it's happened, it's worked in my favour a few times as well, so I can't argue with it, you know what I mean? The referee that was there was a good referee, so, but then obviously I won the belt and I stopped my opponent, do you know what I mean? But the kind of roller coaster ride of emotions with that is like, if I was trying to run a business same time, couldn't deal with that, do you know what I mean? Like I said, now I'm training 13 times a week. It probably takes up, I want to say, between 4 and 6 hours a day just training, and then you've got recovery and then eating all the extra food that I have to eat because I'm training so much and sleep. Like, it's so much that's just like, it's almost impossible.
But as you're talking there, it makes me think of what some of the things Jerome was alluding to on Sunday. As an ex-footballer, now as a financial advisor, and the stories we've heard about lots of sportsmen who basically they're busy being sports people, and how they're not able to give the attention maybe to the finances. Many people who've done very well, they've done very well if they're a footballer, if they're in the Premiership or the Championship or they're a top boxer. Money can come, and yet how do you manage those two things? Which is a big question. There you are, 23. It's a lot to manage. So how do you get support for those two things then?
At the minute, I'm living with my parents. Like, as soon as, like I said, I was saying to Lagarde the other day, like, I'm the brokest I've ever been, but I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Oh, well, that's a good place to be, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, like, I think, and you know what it is as well? I think people see an athlete and it's like, all they've got to do is just their sport. But really, behind the scenes, these big athletes, like you were saying before about media teams and stuff, they've got whole teams behind them. Like, you can't make it, which is why now I'm after sponsorship stuff, because I've realised that you can't make it without having a team behind you. Like being an athlete is a business. You need your accountant, you need your media team, you need your PR person, you need whatever it is. Like you need all those people behind you if you're going to make it to the top. If not, then you'll just end up getting distracted or overworked, and you can't focus on what you need to be focusing on. And the guy that has the team will beat you because he's focused on what he needs to do.
So your focus now is boxing. And this is why you're trying to be in a position where you could get a team which could support you if you become, as you want to become, more successful in boxing.
So, how are you with money?
Do you know what? I feel like I'm good with money now, but when I was making money, it's funny. Like I feel like when you have money, you crap with money. Then when you don't have money, you seem to make it like stretch. You know what I mean? Like it's one of them ones. Like, but like but I think that's also the mindset around it. Like, I went very quickly from basically making no money to, like I said, making like 50 grand a year as a young kid, and never seen that. Like I was making more than my parents at that point. Do you know what I mean? So like I've never even seen that.
So you
money.
were paying board.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was living
Days,
at home.
young
I was living at
people,
home.
you can't bring that one to the group.
But to be fair, the reason that like my parents didn't, I wasn't splashing my money on like crap. I was reinvesting it. Yeah. So like a lot of it was going back into mentorship and more like programs to basically back into my business essentially. Yeah. So like I was making $4,000 a month, I'd spend $4,000 that month, and probably $2,500 of that would be back into the business. You know what I mean? And then the rest of it would be car insurance, food, whatever. Like I've been pretty much until now. I've been supporting myself since I was 16, 17. Like I've always had a job. Yeah. But I would say then, like I said, I almost, and my mindset around money as well, like, which I think really gets talked about when we did the thing the other day. I don't really care about money. Like I just think it just comes and goes. So like I'll rather use it for something than hold on to it, which is kind of toxic mindset as well. Because then when a rainy day comes, you ain't got nothing there. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you've got to constantly rely on making more money. Then if you like, that's what I was like. It was always I've got to make more money, got to sign another client, got to, And so I was literally like I'd spend all the money, but then it put the pressure on me to make more money, and I would make more money. But then you're kind of under constant stress, you know what I mean?
So do you, from Sunday where there was a lot of talk about money and sort of ideas of how you can best manage your money, were there any things from that discussion when you felt, oh, that's a thought, I ought to give that some consideration?
Like, yeah, I would say so, but nothing that I didn't already think, if you know what I mean. Like, I think the biggest thing is having someone around you that knows how to manage money. Yeah. Because I think the background that we come from, you don't really see that. You haven't really seen the parent or the auntie or the uncle that's managed the money, and now they're sitting on £1 million when they're.
Because most of us just come from backgrounds where parents go to work, they've just got, they're happy when they've got a little left over, which they can pay for clothes, take you out occasionally, take a holiday once in a while, etc. That's most people's experience of money. It's not a case of, you've got, as you say, a bit of money where you can invest in X, you can do this, you can do that. I've not got that background. My kids were not brought up with that either.
And even like whenever a black person dies, somehow the money always goes missing. You know what I mean? Like because like whenever grandparents have passed away or whatever, there's always a fight over the money. Someone thieves the money, whatever. And so it's like we're never
Although
even.
we must say, as was said on Sunday, that's quite a universal thing, isn't it? That I definitely think that. I don't think there's anything particularly special about black people and that death and fighting over money. I think it's a universal thing. But if we're talking, and we can laugh and joke about it, we know of people and we know of families that, and I think it was said on Sunday, which is, it's even more reason if you've not had an experience of money that actually you prepare for that eventuality. So someone like me, 65, I hope I've got 20 years left in me there, that I got from Sunday's discussion that I need to think about it seriously.
No, but that's the thing, and to me what was alarming was, alarming, if that's a word, when David said that, in our community, I mean, when they spoke to an undertaker, they said that we're the one community that we die richer. Like we live
More money than we've ever had.
Yes, more money than we ever had. So what does that say about how we are looking at this thing? Because obviously it doesn't look like money is being invested back into something. It's just we are holders of money, if I can even put it that way.
Maybe because, if you've not had much, when you have something, you want to hold on to it, don't you? The little bit you've got, you want to keep it. But I think when you're a young person, I think it's how you use the money which you might have. So here you are at your age now. You said that you had periods where you were earning £3,000, £4,000 a month, which is a big sum, bigger than your parents.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, there's every chance you're going to be back in that place again.
But then, for me, the curiosity is, what is the conversation around the table with your parents now that you have decided that you're going to step back from inherently, kind of earning and stuff? But the way you've spoken about your parents, they're cool. So, but what is the conversation when you suddenly clicked in your head that, you didn't want to be chasing all the other stuff, but you just wanted to concentrate on boxing?
To be fair, even when I had my business and I was making money, my parents have always been like, we need a job as a backup. To be fair, they'll always support me, and they'll work 100 hours a week, and they'll pick up the extra shifts, and I'll do all that, which I'm grateful for. But they still are my parents aren't very ambitious people, so it's hard for them at the same time to be like, yeah, commit to this, go all in, like, you're gonna make it. Like, they almost can't see that because they've never seen it. Like, no one in the family.
That's like risk, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a risk aversion. The little you've got, you're scared to lose, which is understandable.
And I think with my parents as well, they had me at like 17, 18. So they're like, since they've been able to work, they're about to support a family. Whereas I'm in a different position where I've said, like, if I go broke and I have to live in the back of my car, I'll do that to make it in the sport. If I have to park up outside the boxing gym and live in my car, I'll do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about money to where, like, I used to, especially when I had my business, I was making good money. Everyone thought, like, yo, Ayden's like the guy that is making money and he's further in life than we are. Whereas now I've taken a step back where they've all graduated university and they're into jobs that are probably making good money now. And I've taken a massive step back where I'm almost 18 again and I'm not earning any, and you know what I mean? And so I had that in my head of, I was holding on to my business for a long time and didn't want to let go of it, even though I knew it's what I needed to do, just because I was scared how people would perceive me. But now I'm just kind of like, you know what? None of that matters. Like, end of the day, in 10 years' time, when I put in the work, no one's going to worry about where I was 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And I think we worry about that too much as well.
That's true. But isn't there, like, because I know, like, we are the elders, really. Social media is not really.
Well, talking to Ayden now, I feel very much like an elder. I'm like a grandparent to you.
That's the thing. Like, we're constantly trying to figure out, how do you deal with an entity that changes so much? Because social media, it changes. One time you're hot, and the next thing, like, nobody really wants anything to do with you. Isn't there, like, this, like, at the back of the head, like, by the time you decide to come back and fully commit this thing, it will have moved on so much?
I think that's just learning to adapt, because with anything, whether you're in business, you're in sports, you're a musician, you're whatever, if you're in the entertainment industry and you utilize social media or you're entrepreneurial, you're gonna, like, the world is constantly changing. You know what I mean? Like, person who invented radio, then TV comes along, is business. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing. Like, you've just got to, all right, what's working now? Look at who's doing well, and then, copy that blueprint and adapt it to your thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't think when you get too emotional around, like, how many likes am I getting, or how many views am I getting, or people still commenting on my stuff. Like, you just got to look at it as data. Like, this content isn't performing the way it used to. I need to change the way that I'm producing. Do you know what I mean?
So So, I mean, sorry to be hogging this thing, because I'm trying to understand that whole concept of, pivoting, like that whole thing of, okay, because like sometimes you listen, sometimes you get those people say, oh yeah, you have to post 3-4 times. Or I heard that, I can't remember which company it is. One of the football clubs, I think Everton. No, no, one of the football clubs. They post about 12. They posted 12 times. One post 12 times a day. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Well, they've obviously got home. Like I know, there's a guy. Alex Hormoz. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he posts something like 300 times a week. Like they've got whole teams where he's probably spending $500,000, probably more than that. His company does like 200 million a year or something. You know what I mean? Something crazy. When you've got that much money, they've got whole teams. They're probably spending 5 million, 10 million a year just in marketing. You know what I mean?
Because you're a social media person.
I am.
You pop up occasionally on my a sweep. Is it right?
On your For You page, or whatever it is that you hear. No, I'm fascinated. I think I'm fascinated about how you can get the algorithm to actually, kind of get to a point where whatever it is that you post hits the place where you want it to be. Because it's like with the podcast, for instance, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple, we're on other platforms, we're on YouTube. But we always find it difficult to kind of quantify the data behind it. And also, for me, it's always been that question of, even if we got the data, what do we use it for? You know what I'm saying?
Which is one for us, but for you, what have you been using it for?
In terms of the social media data, I'll obviously use it to get in front of more people. So like if I know, like for example, for me right now, I know that storytelling is the biggest thing. People love like a come up story. They love to relate to someone. They love to feel inspired. Like, yo, he's gone through the same things I've gone through. So I've made a point of showing everything that I do, like the good things, the bad things, when I succeed, when I fail. And people love the lessons behind that. And
how do you feel about sharing, in a sense, that disclosure with the public as such? Whereas again, one of the things which, when we're at the men's group there, that's one of the things which, people share as much as they want to share. Some people share more than others, but it's not something which I'd have to say some of us older ones have been used to. I mean, I still find social media quite odd. People share things. I mean, I don't share.
Even like when we was talking at the live podcast over there about money, like I think, especially being in business and like in one of the mentorships I used to be in, we used to go down to London for these like big events where 100 people from the mentorship would all get together in like in the Mayfair Hotel, and we'd sit and talk. And just how open those lot are with finances was crazy. Like someone sat next to you, I'm making 10 grand, I'm making 3 grand, I'm making 100 grand a month, and everyone telling you, this is when I was making your kind of money, this is what I was doing, now I'm making this money, this is what I'm doing. And so it's just so open about things. And you have to almost, in business, I feel like you have to be like that. Like if you're not transparent with what's going on in your situation, you're not going to be able to learn from other people.
But with that as well, I mean, again, back to the, it was sort of said on Sunday, this notion of trust. Is that what level of trust do you need in business then? And how does that affect you as a person? Because trust is such a key bit to...
But I think people focus too much on, like, if someone's got information about you, they can't really do anything with it other than, I don't know, maybe say some nasty things to you. It's like, you just need to learn to, like, just like, so what? Like, someone who you don't care about who in 5 years' time will not be a part of your life said something about you.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about it. Like, on social media, I'll get comments that are bigging me up and, praising me. Then I get some comment from like a 14-year-old telling me to kill myself or something. Like, they'll be, you know what I mean? You get some, and this is like, you just have to ignore those people. The vast majority are supporting you. You can't, but I think we focus too much on that one person that said something negative. And you have to, like, you have to be vulnerable and trust other people before they will trust you. And like, I think like if you do that, you'll have a lot more people that kind of, you know, gravitate towards
And
you.
is that something you would say you're able to do?
I would say so. Have I always been like that? I think boxing gave me the confidence to do that. I think because, like, as arrogant as it sounds, when you know that you can just punch someone in the face if they get rude with you, you don't fear anything they say. It's just like, you can say whatever you want to me, but if this comes to blows, I know it's coming out on top. Do you know what I mean? So I don't need to worry about what you're saying because I'm more worried about when I'm in the boxing gym and I get my head punched in by someone that, you know what I mean? Like, your words, they don't do anything.
But they say often, I mean, lots of boxing clubs there which are out there supporting young people, the likes of Unity Gym, etc. there, that boxing can give that discipline, boxing helps people with their mental health, etc. Is that something you would say boxing's given you? Or another question might be, what has boxing given you?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I think as a kid, I was very anxious. Like, I would never be confident to walk in a room and just talk to people. Even just walk in the room, I'm waiting for someone I know at the door. Like, where can I go in with someone? Like, whereas now, I'll just walk in and I'll talk to people. Because that's how you have to be. Like, when I first started going to my boxing gym, I didn't know anybody there. I got my mum to call up the gym and ask like if I could come. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't. And then I turned up to the wrong session. But then I think the other thing as well is I think sometimes you'll put people on like a podium, whereas boxing teaches you that like everyone is on. It teaches you to respect everyone, that everyone's on the same level. If you because like you walk into the gym and someone who's half your size will kick the crap out of you, and then you'll kick the crap out of someone who's twice as big as you, and so it just kind of teaches you to just respect everybody because you don't know actually what someone's capable of. So it teaches you not to fear anybody, because you can defend yourself and it teaches you to respect everybody. So it's quite a humbling thing. And I also think that, like, in terms of the mental health side of it, it's when I'm in the box gym, I'm not thinking about anything else. Like, for them 2 hours or whatever I'm in the gym for, the only problem I have is hit and don't get hit. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the only problem I have. So it can relieve a lot of stress.
But last time we spoke about, neurodiversity, and you know that the whole ADHD and all that kind of stuff. How is your ADHD?
I mean, I don't, like I said, I still don't even know if I've got ADHD. All I know is that both my brothers basically have ADHD and autism, and then I'm pretty sure my dad's also got ADHD. Whole loop of my family's got ADHD, so I don't know if I actually have it or if I'm just influenced by my environment. I don't know which one it is. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like sometimes I can be like, I don't seem like I'm ADHD or neurodivergent at all. Then other times I'm like, my life's just falling apart. Like, it just feels like I can't. But I think the main thing with me is I'm very unorganized and I can be quite like, you know, I'm one of those people that I'll start a million tasks and not realize that I've got like 10 different things that I'm doing at the same time. But I think that's the other reason why, because like other people, they might be able to. I know some people that they run a business and they're boxing and they're bouncing ball and they might even have a part-time job and they might even have kids and they might even. I don't think I could manage that. Like, I have to be 100% like focused on one thing at a time. Otherwise, my brain's just like I'm overwhelmed. Do you know what I mean?
And is that why you've decided you're going to focus for the time being just on boxing?
It was part of that, because like I said, I was overwhelmed with a lot. Like, I had so many commitments. Like, I'm trying to do this like charity work, I'm trying to do this business stuff, I'm trying to, boxing, I'm trying community stuff, and it's like I just had too much. I was like, I'm not gonna get anywhere with any one of them unless I focus. And then the other thing was, boxing is where my heart's at. That's where, when I visualize myself, 10, 20 years from now, I see my legacy as I was a boxer. I was, that's what it is. So it's like, why am I wasting my time with everything else? I can do all that after boxing. When I'm 35, 40 and I've retired, 45 I've retired, I can do all the other stuff because, I've still got my mental health. I'm not going to have the same physical health.
So with boxing and being that single-minded with boxing, and really it's sort of like a metaphor for anything, to be single-minded on something. You have to put some things to a side. I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. What sort of things have you sort of said to yourself, for me to be totally single-minded on boxing and I want to succeed, that's got to be put to one side.
Literally everything other than boxing. Quite literally. I don't party, I don't drink, I don't obviously smoke, I rarely socialise. If I socialise, it's like in the barbershop. That's my socialise. And we might do karaoke on a Thursday night at Room Keg or whatever. That's like the most. But even then, I'm in bed for 11 o'clock, which is my bedtime anyways. Like literally everything other than obviously like women or everything other than, you know, boxing. I've sacrificed pretty much. Like it's literally I go to the gym. So train, eat, sleep, and just repeat. That's pretty much.
Because I mean, that is one of the things you hear about successful people, that they are
Discipline.
able to be totally single-minded about what it is they've decided to go for. And you hear a lot of other people who are interested in things, but they can't do that. And then with it you get frustration and all the other bits which come alongside it there.
I think, do you know of that? I think that's because people are worried about how they're going to be perceived. Like, are you, like, even as an entrepreneur, let's say you'll start a business, are you willing to work some part-time job in McDonald's at the weekend and then build your business that's not making you any money throughout the week and look broke to all your friends? Most people aren't willing to do that. They'd rather get a job and graft and finance the fancy car and have their own place and go on holidays because that's what all their friends are doing. You know what I mean? I think a lot of that is because of how people want to be perceived by people. They're worried about what they're going to think of it if I'm not keeping up with.
But that's also, I mean, I think it was David who said about comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, yes.
You know, I love that quote because, you know, we are all susceptible to it. And I can imagine as a young person today, you know, I want to get the nice big phone, I want to get the nice car, I want to, all these things there which are all sort of like on lease, which are taking a lot of money off you. And there is nothing worse than at some point you're in debt. And you can't work to pay it off. That's going to undermine your overall mental health, your general well-being, the plans you've got for the future.
So, about mental health, how is your mental health?
Do you know what? Like I said to you the other day, like I'm the brokest I've ever been, but I'm the happiest I've ever been because I'm doing I've always, since I was 15, 16, I started boxing. I've visualized where I'm at now, just boxing, and that's what I'm doing, and that's my future, and I'm giving 100% to that, and I don't have time to worry about everything. I've said the biggest thing, but I think this is just universal across, like when you're trying to achieve things that the majority are not achieving, is I'm quite lonely. Even though I've got friends and I'm in a boxing gym with 40 other boxers and I see them every day, and you know, like I'm socializing with the guys, whatever. For some reason, I still feel mad lonely. Like I'm on this journey by myself, even though I know I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it feels like when you're in the ring, win or lose, like it was only you in there. Do you know what I mean? And then when I go home and I'm sleeping by myself, I'm in bed like I'm kind of like just again by myself. Do you know what I mean? Looking at the ceiling like can't sleep. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think that's the biggest thing for me. But other than that, like I'm happy, to be honest.
Because this is the thing. Recently, I was saying to someone, I sort of, made this post about loneliness that I don't think loneliness, I think sometimes we equate that because we are around people and we're sociable and stuff. The first time I realized personally I was lonely, I was covering an event. We have like a church event like Camp Maiden. We're like over 1,000 people in this environment. And I'm like, I feel so alone even then. And I knew everyone, majority of people I knew. And that basically has carried on to this very moment that outside the whole social space and stuff, you still feel that sense of, I don't know if forlorn is a term.
It is, yes.
Yeah, it's like that sense of whimsy, and you can't track it because you got family around you, you got parents around you, you got everybody around, kids around you. You know what I'm saying? And they say, loneliness is actually a thing.
Well, I think it's a very big thing there, and I think it's a hard one to actually sometimes I don't know if I can define it myself. is it a case of you're on your own a lot? For some people, loneliness is a very physical thing. They just simply don't have anybody around them. They're in the house from morning, noon, and night on their own. They don't have any friends, etc. And yet you can, as you described it, be in the company of others, and yet still feel lonely. I know for myself that I have lots of occasions on my own, but I also have a reasonable number of occasions when I'm in the company of others. And when I feel most connected there is actually when I'm talking with those others. And you actually, so for instance, when we have the Black Men's Group on that Friday, I think most Fridays I think, oh, am I going to go? Especially if it's a wet evening. Am I going to get in the car, drive across, and whatever? And I get there and I sit down and I think, how's it going to be? No matter what we've discussed, I always feel better at the end of it. There's been some connection. And maybe that's what we're trying to do, which is to have those connections at the times we need those connections.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that actually it keeps us going. That's just a thought. I don't know.
Actually, what's his name? The young guy, the firefighter guy.
Luca.
Yeah, Luca said something which I thought was interesting at some point. He said, I'm a sad person with happy moments. And that basically resonated a lot because I'm thinking, because even kind of the sense of company or happiness or what have you, all these things are like snapshots of a far wider spectrum in terms of how we do things. It's like, as a boxer, training, let's say 6 hours a day. Within that 6 hours, you're not just punching the bag. It's like a snapshot of a variety of things. You know what I'm saying? But then that makes the whole ethos of training. So I guess within the idea of living is these little snapshots of stuff, but sometimes looking at them, if you look at them in isolation of everything else, there's this sense of you miss the wider sense of life, I guess.
Oof, big ones, aren't they? So when you said about being alone, when you're, because it is you, because you've decided to be very single-minded about this. This is what you're going to do there. And that means there is a price which you pay for it. There you're aware of it. One of the things in listening to you is you're very self-aware.
I know.
I mean, there's no way. It's 23. I had none of that self-awareness.
Let me tell you, I have never seen. No, I class myself as self-aware, but you are self-aware. You've always been, though.
I don't know if I've always been. I think probably I think it's been a recent thing, like maybe the last couple of years. Really, like from I had like a long-term relationship, from I ran my own business, because I've done things that most people probably don't do until they're maybe 30. You know what I mean? Like most people maybe don't have a long relationship till they're later in their 20s, or they've not run a business before, they've not done certain things, they've not sacrificed like what I've sacrificed at a young age. Where I've always been talk about being risk averse earlier. I've always been the opposite of that. Like I exposed myself to as many risks as possible because I think that's how I'm gonna learn. Like I'm not gonna, you're not gonna learn anything if I'm constantly just trying to kind of shield myself from the world. So I've always been put myself out there. And if you get bun, you get bun, and then you have to learn again. Do you know what I mean? Like this is how it is. So, but yeah, I think it's been the last couple of years, and again, spending time around older people. And just, I'd say one thing I've always been very observant. Not necessarily self-aware, but I've always been very observant, and I think that's helped me. You
can see that. I see it because, occasionally on the Friday, you don't say much. But when you get called in to say something, or you decide to say something, it's usually very wise.
I know.
And I'm thinking, this young man is saying the wise words. I'm the older man, and I'm not saying anything wise.
No, but that's telling. That's what I'm saying. I don't know whether. That's why like sometimes when I asked about kind of ADHD and stuff, because I noticed that I usually I usually because it's like sometimes the way you observe is like we observe the world is usually like from a different standpoint. It's like sometimes it's the lack of fear of being outlandish. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I am the guy who will say the thing, or who will do the thing that other people are like. You can't do that, or you can't say that. But I will say the thing simply because sometimes for me it's driven by that. Like, what effect does it have? Or what will it do? Because sometimes we don't ask. And then when we don't get answers, we are like, maybe the world is closed door. But the reality is we didn't ask. Unless we ask, we will never know. So I have always admired your process. Because like when we're talking on Sunday about the fact that the first time you were looking at all these things like, oh yeah, okay, so I'm going to do this thing where I look at the figure I want to achieve for that period of time, then work towards that, from a financial point of view. Let me tell you, up to now, I still struggle with that concept because I work blind. Like some of us, we know we're going to get paid X amount, but we never think, okay, we are going to do X, Y, and Z to kind of reach that.
Wasn't that said there? Someone said about self-worth. And therefore, underpinning self-worth must be some aspect of self-esteem, self-value, and maybe some of us, we're not sure.
Yes.
And I'm throwing this one back to you now, Ayden, there about, with boxing, does that sort of like support that sense of self?
Yeah, but I also think I think confidence comes from like doing the things that you say you're going to do as well. Like I've heard that quote before, and it's like
successful people do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah. And so like I think because sometimes I think to myself, I'm not cut out for this. Like, who do I think I am? To be, like there's these other guys. I don't know. I'll spar somebody and they'll batter me, and I'm thinking, well, time to call it a day. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of. But it's like, no, that's just that one day, and then next time you might. And so it's just about being humble enough to know that you can always improve. But then being confident, just like, you know what, I have done this, and so you know what I mean. Like,
so you've got resilience as well.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. And I think with me, one thing that I think has always kind of got me through life is I never get too high with the highs or low with the lows. Like I'm always just kind of like, is what it is. And sometimes I offend people because like someone can say to me they've achieved this thing, and I'm just like, cool. It's not like, but I'm proud of him and I want to big him up, but in my eyes I'm just like, job's not finished. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's always the mindset, and so people can be a bit like, this guy just kind of shitting on my parade. I'm not trying to be like that, but I'm just like, wicked, well done for doing what you're doing, but you can do so much more. Like, let's push for what's the next thing, and that's kind of like what I'm always been like. And then when something bad happens, kind of saying with like, you know what is what it is. It's not going to hold me back from achieving the next thing. Yeah. So I'm always just looking like, what's next. Rob
always starts the session with that 1 to 10, doesn't he? And about so often about we can either get stuck in the 1s and 2s, or we explode and go to the 9 and 10. And how do we operate in that middle bit, which is the middle bit where you can think things through a bit. I want to congratulate you. I want to say good words to you there, but I also want to say to you, as you say, keep on going. Because nothing's ever finished yet, is it?
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it isn't. I recently wrote a piece for LinkedIn around that idea of it's like I was watching a video by Michael J. Fox, the actor, and he was talking about, when he got, because he's got MS in it.
Is it MS or Parkinson's?
Or Parkinson's. He's got Parkinson's. He says when he got the diagnosis, he went through this downward spiral of, drinking and stuff. Like they get that sense of denial and stuff, and then when clarity comes, that's when you suddenly, you kind of, but nobody, when we hear the snapshots of the stories, we usually see, somebody will give us probably kind of some background or something, and then give us the glitz and the glamour. Oh yeah, I'm here, which is what social media does. But I think one thing that I'm sort of kind of getting from your process is the journey in between. You know, because obviously you are on your journey, but it's, for me, my question then becomes, you've got this now, what is the next thing? And what is the trajectory to where, what does that look like to you at this moment in terms of actually trying to get to that space where you want to get to?
From like, I'm the kind of person that whatever I'm going to go into, I'm trying to do it the best that I can. So like, for me, the end goal is undisputed world champion, achieved it, multiple weight classes, inspired the community, the next generation. I'll review, don't worry. I'll review.
You know, when you get there, remember that.
Don't worry. And so that's the bit, like, for me, it's always been about, because I think growing up, and I said this to Dave a lot, and I think we've probably spoke about it as well before, I didn't feel like I had a lot of role models around me. It was very much just like everyone just had jobs and they just worked and they struggled to pay bills, and that was life. Like, and then I got older and I started to meet these business people, and like I said, I invested in mentors, which again at the time, my parents were like, "Are you crazy? Like, you're gonna spend you're gonna pay someone $5,000 to teach us something to do online? Like, what are you on about?" Like, it was just a concept that was was completely bizarre to them. And then, but then you step into that world, and all of a sudden, it's like, like you're surrounded by all these people, making crazy amounts of money or whatever, and it's like, friggin' hell, there's a much bigger world to what I've been exposed to. Like, someone who, I don't know, we might cry about turning the heating on because we're spending too much money or whatever. Whereas these guys will go to dinner and they'll spend $2,000 like it's nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's, to me, I saw that as like, that's freedom. Like, just because, and I think more people need to be exposed to that. Again, like I said, I wasn't, as a young kid, wasn't really exposed to that. And I think, especially growing up in Sheffield, it's very, like, we've had stars, and we still have them now, like, up and coming and stuff, but I feel like they're not, a lot of time I think what happens in Sheffield is people make it and then they leave Sheffield. And so it's not really like passed down. Like, you can't see, for example, I don't know, back in the day, you wouldn't see, I don't know, like if you grew up in New York or something, and Mike Tyson, you saw Mike Tyson running down the street, you'd think like, yo, I can be like Mike. Like, you wouldn't see that in Sheffield, really, not anymore. Maybe. Yeah.
So who are your heroes then?
I'd say I have to put the number one person. I don't know, actually. Maybe, I think the first hero when I was younger was probably like Muhammad Ali. I don't know, Michael Jackson. They was like who I looked up to be fair, when I was younger. Those kind of people, and then. But what got me into boxing, what I actually started boxing, was Anthony Joshua, because he blew up at the time that I was kind of like, what am I gonna do in my life? Yeah. I was like kind of 15, like, what am I gonna do? I'm athletic, sporty, but all the sports I've tried I don't really like. And then you've got this role model now that everyone loved him as well. I think that was the thing what I admired. Like, it wasn't just a boxer, and boxing people liked him.
And he came from a background similar to yours.
Yeah.
He's coming from inner city London, etc.
Yeah. But I like the fact that he was very humble. Usually boxers are just like rowdy and like, what? Like, I'm gonna knock my man out and da. And whereas I'm not like that, really. Like, I've become more like it now because it sells. It does, like, on social media. But I have two sides where, like, I can be like that, but then I'm also like to just calm down.
So where do you get the discipline side? That side of which is you go to work every day, which is what it is. Boxing is work. Every day you go to work, no matter what. Where's that come from?
I think, again, watching the people that have made it. Like, you look at guys like Anthony Joshua, Floyd Mayweather, whoever else it is, and it's just hard work. It's like even like there was when AJ used to come to Sheffield to train with EIS, and he's living in like a little 1-bedroom flat with like a sofa with holes in it. You know what I mean? Like, it was just about the work. It wasn't about luxury. And obviously, he's got money and he's got big cars and houses probably, down in London or whatever. But when he's up here and he's working, like, that's the only thing that mattered. And I think, for me, it's always been about, how do I increase my chances the most? And if I'm drinking, and if I'm partying, and if I'm messing around chasing women, and if I'm doing, those are all things that are going to decrease my chance of success. And so it's like, how do I eliminate as many obstacles as possible and just make it as easy as possible? Because I think people, they try and juggle all these things, and like you're just making life more difficult for yourself. And I think
I mean, that's a massive lesson there.
No,
There's a life lesson for loads of people out there,
there is.
which is, if you want what you want, you're going to have to work for it and give some things up. It's,
and it's not forever either.
It's not forever either.
Like you just, like, if you do that for 10, 15, 20 years, you'll be miles and miles ahead of everyone else. And then when they're all struggling and, they're crying about whatever, you're enjoying your life. And I think people as well, they focus too much on living life when they're young. I thought when you're young, that's time to graft. When now, like if you graft, and obviously maybe not everyone can do this, but I think and obviously it depends on your starting point as well, and the access to the knowledge and the resources that you've got. But let's say you had all the knowledge given to you at 16, and you grafted from 16 to 40, you'd retire at 40, probably easily, do you know what I mean? Yes. Whereas like, people try and live from 16 to 30, they're going out, partying, drinking, living life, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're young. You're supposed to enjoy life. And then you're broke when you're older. It don't make sense to me. Like, you're better off grafting when you're young, and then as you get older and you've got less durability to work.
You can work harder when you're younger.
Yeah,
There's no choice.
Do you know what I mean? So you're better off, and then you've got all that time now from your 30, 40 till you're 80, 90, whenever you die, to enjoy life, and you can still do all the same things. Like people act like you can't party when you're 50. Like of course you can. Like if you keep yourself in shape and you still can do all the same things you can when you're 20.
I mean, you were saying there about a sort of like putting the effort in, and you made me think about my brother, older brother, and the job I remember getting a promotion. And I went down to his house and I was writing on his computer, and I came back home and I'd left my application on his, draft application on his computer. He rang me up and he said to me, is this yours? I said, yes. And he said, I hope you don't mind, but I had a look at it. I said, did you? I said, yeah. He said, do you want this job? I said, of course I want this job. And he said, you're going to have to do better. And I was like, what? My brother's telling me all the stuff you have with your brothers, like I'm not hearing anything from him, but actually it was the best advice I had, which is it's just for a short period of time. Focus, and do the very best you can do. And sometimes you need someone to do that for you, to tell you that. So who's telling you that? Who's in your corner saying to you, come on, keep it going?
I think there's not one person. I think it's been multiple people, but it's not necessarily that they're telling me either. They do tell me, like other boxers in the gym and coaches obviously will tell you you've got to put in the work. Like one thing that stuck with me is my coach. I think probably the first year that I started boxing, he said in the gym, he said, there's 7 days in the week, so you guys need to be in here at least 4 days a week, because then you're in the gym more than you're not. That was something that stuck me. I was like, yo, that's just like, if you train more, it's like, all right, train more than you're not training, you're going to continue to progress. That's like, so some people won't do that, or they'll just do the bare minimum, like I'll go twice a week, which is what I was doing at the time. I was like, yeah, do you know what, I need to get here 4 times a week. And then I started doing it, and now I'm there 6 days a week, do you know what I mean, like twice a day most of the time. So yeah, it's never necessarily been one person, but it's more observing people that are in the position that I want to be in. And I'm observing, right, what are they doing, and I'll just basically copy them. Like I look at like what does the average person do, and then what does the person that breaks that mold do, and don't do what the average person does, and do what the one that's succeeded does. That's kind of like again just going back to being like observing and watching. Okay, I want to be like this person. I don't want to be like that person. What's that person doing that's holding them back, and what's that person doing that's allowing them to excel?
Oh no, that's a life. That's a life lesson. Because it's like, as you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, I should do better.
We'll talk to you.
I really need to do better. Because I think also one thing I'm learning is that not many of us were very introspective, or like we don't usually look at our own process and say, you know what, I need to tweak that. Or I need to let go.
Because it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
And when you're stressed with like life, it's hard to Like I'm fortunate where I've had quite a lot of time, especially when I was running my business. Although it was, I had a lot to do. To be fair, it was very time efficient. I had a lot of time to just sit and think, like because I do the online stuff. Once I've done it, clients have been dealt with. I had lots of time just on my hands to just sit and think. And so I think you don't really. And there's been times as well where I've kind of just like sacked off everything. I've had a mental health breakdown, and even in those times, sometimes hitting rock bottom is like the best thing for you. Do you know what I mean? Because you kind of do just
So
have
you feel
time
like
to,
you've had those moments?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, there's been times, like there's been times where relationships break down, whether business has gone crap, like boxing, don't do well with those kind of things. Like especially after you take a loss in boxing, you're just in your own head for like I'll just take like a day or two just by myself, just like think, and you're just in your own head. It's in those times where I'm like, right, what do I need to improve? What do I need to work on? Do you know what I mean? And
so those things there, which are again back to his life lessons as such. There, you're a young man there. Relationships can go into relationships. They can break down. You can have fallouts with X, Y, and Z. You can maybe not succeed at something in your boxing. And you just alluded to how you manage it. How have you managed those situations? Because they are difficult situations. And do you feel as if it set you up? Not set you up because you can never be set up for it. But you have that resilience in you to actually bounce back. Because bounceability is important.
Yeah, especially at this age.
Yeah.
Because some of us, this is a process. Some of us we're marveling at, we're thinking, how can one so young be so wise? Teach us,
But
man.
again, I think that comes spending time around older people, because I think I wouldn't have bounced back from the things I bounced back from if I didn't have older people to lean on, because they've been there before. Do you know what I mean? They've had relationships break down. They've gone broke. They've, whatever has happened to them, they've lost, like, being around in the gym with other boxers. Like, I've even had a falling out with my flipping, I haven't had a falling out with my dad, but I've never I lost, a month ago, 3 weeks ago or whatever. I lost a fight. And I've not even spoken to my dad since, just because of how he reacted afterwards. Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. I just thought, like, shut up. You've never even been in, what do you know? Do you know what I mean? And we've not, and to be fair, my dad don't speak a lot anyways. My dad's like one of them proper like old school dads of like, I think you've mentioned it before, in fact, in the black man chat of like, he has two emotions. He's like either like disciplinary or just don't say nothing. Like that's it. Like
that's how we were brought up.
what's
the problem?
Yeah, but that's like to my dad. Like we don't chit chat. Like I don't like walk in the house and say, "Oh, hi dad, how are you doing?" Like you don't do that with me. Or how are you, son? Like we don't do that. We just talk when we need to talk. Basically, that's it. You get me?
But that's one of the things which we were talking on the way up here about that intergenerational, which is I know sometimes we turn the conversation around because a lot of the guys there will talk about their own dads there, and many of the guys there are dads. And as a dad, how do you get into the chit chat? So I don't think I do. I mean, I do chit chat with my son. We talk about football, but we don't explore one's emotions, and I think it's difficult. You can't expect your son to talk about their emotions if you're not talking about your own. And I think for many dads, especially as old school dads there, it's not an easy place to be.
I think a lot of that has come down from like, even whether you're white, black, whatever, I think it's the same across the board for a lot of people, but it's like, but you come from war or slavery or whatever, and it's like you don't want to talk about those things to your kids, innit? And so I think then over generations that becomes a normal of like, you don't talk about your problems and your emotions to your kids. And so I think that's probably where it, now we're stuck with it, but really and truthfully, we need to be speaking about it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So how? I mean, you've got your belt now. How much work did it take for that? Because I saw a video of you doing a James Brown, like this thing is split, man.
The signature move.
Yeah, the signature move, man. It was the most hilarious thing. I think he's gonna hit himself.
Mastered it. And you know what? I was saying to my friend, I don't even remember how I found out I could do that.
What? Did you do a split?
You know what?
The little bit goes across.
Yeah, like
you gotta do the split next, man.
No, like he does. It's like Because many artists do like this. It's like a split thing.
Yeah.
Prince used to do it also, isn't it?
I'm not sure. He used to do backflips and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
didn't he?
they do like, it's like they do a split, then they get out.
Oh, I'm going to have a look now.
Yeah, check
I'll
out.
show you the
It's
video.
the most hilarious
The boss.
thing, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
so much energy. I'm thinking, how does somebody have so much energy after having the fight?
Yeah, well, obviously, like when I stopped the guy second round, didn't I? So it was quite quick, like, and there was a lot of built-up emotion into that. 'Cause like I said, I'd come off a loss. Like I've had, like I said, 3 fights this in the last month, basically. Yeah, won 2 of them by knockout. But obviously, won one by knockout, lost one by stoppage, won one by stoppage, and then lost one by stoppage. Sorry, and then won the next one for the belt by stoppage. So it was like I had to redeem myself because I missed out on the Yorkshire Championship. Because of that loss. So it was like this was the chance to win, a Yorkshire title. It was like I needed to. So then I try usually when I stop someone, I try to kind of keep composed and stuff. But when you're in the ring, you got all them emotions.
Yeah.
Like they've got to come out. Even like 2 days later, I was still just like in bed, like couldn't sleep because you're just overwhelmed with all the adrenaline and stuff. I mean, you're still on a high kind of thing as much as you try to chill out. But going back to like the work that's gone in, it's been like 9 years in the making. Do you know what I mean? Like and I'm still. I think in the gym, I'm experienced, but in the ring, I've still only had 13 fights because when I first started boxing, I only had a couple of fights a year. Wasn't very fit, and then my parents were like, unless you get fit, you're not getting back in the ring, and that kind of. So I didn't fight as much as I could have, and I had a lot of. Just like I got unlucky, to be fair. A lot of the time, I'd go to shows, weigh in, the guys miss weight. I went to the Netherlands one time to fight. The guy come in 4 kilos underweight, and so it was like, you can't fight, especially when you're kids, Now it's different because the championship weight is 5 kilo different. So my category is 75 to 80. Well, obviously, if I weigh in at 79 and someone comes in at 83, they've missed championship. So either way, so I had a lot of that as a kid. Then I had 5 years out the ring where I still trained, still in the boxing gym training, but I didn't compete because, like I said, why am I gonna, I wasn't chasing a career in boxing anymore because I have my business.
Yeah.
So really, in the ring, I'm still a baby. So I said to my coach the other day, like, I'm still finding my confidence and like my style almost in the ring. But it's like I said, I'm training 13 times a week now. So it's literally like just non-stop. Like every day, just trying to improve. Like I was training 9 times a week. Then I realised other like GB squad, they'll train like 15 times a week. And to be fair, their sessions are kind of like they'll go in just to do pads or they'll go in just to do bags, whereas we'll do all of it in 2-hour sessions. You know what I mean? So you don't necessarily need to do like.
So is that where you're going to afterwards?
We'll see. Like really, I want to turn pro after this year. So, but obviously, if GB offer me a position and say, go on GB, you get 30 grand a year for being on GB as well. So, and then if that comes with sponsorship,
Retainer, isn't it?
yeah, you get that to train full time with them, and you get a lot of experience being in them camps because you're in with all the best guys in the country.
So what do you need to achieve to be a contender for the GB?
You have to pretty much do well in the national championships. So you have to, like, if you get to the national finals or if you win the nationals, then you get like offered you'll get invited.
So where are you with regard to the national?
Well, they're in March, April time, so they're like 5-6 months away. So that's kind of the next.
So
yeah,
we're
that's the next
looking
goal.
out for you then.
Yeah, that's the next
Oh, you'll
goal.
have a posse of people following you,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. So what can we do for you? I mean, in terms of from now, how do people follow you, or kind of?
Just on my social media. So obviously my social media is Ayden Rogers _ across all socials. And yeah, that's where, like I said, I share everything. I share the training, behind the scenes, what I'm eating, how I'm just everything. Because I think, like, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier, like you see on social media a lot of the time, people just showing when they got to the top, but they don't show like the trials and tribulations to get in there. And I think that's important. And being in around the gym, I've been fortunate that I've seen it like firsthand, you know what I mean? And like even in business, like I said, when I was going to these seminars with people, they're telling me like, oh, when I was earning this much, this is what I was facing, and you learn from people. So just putting my story out there, again, grow my following. So when I do turn professional, it helps sell tickets and all that kind of stuff, but also just inspire. A big thing for me is, I always say, I don't really care about money. It's always just been about like can I provide opportunities to other people that used to be like me? That's a big thing for me. Like I wanna, when I'm 40, 50, I wanna be able to notice a kid with potential, maybe don't have the resource or the knowledge, and give them a leg up, which a lot of time they don't get. You know what I mean? And it's just like how many success stories are being lost because they just didn't have that opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
I'm pretty certain, Ayden, when you're in your 50s and you're there facilitating whatever group there, and there's young people there, you'll have lots and lots of wise words to give them, and experiences you can look back on, which they will actually find incredibly supportive for the journeys they're on.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for coming around for the second time around now.
Second time, with the proper one.
With the tag team, you know what I'm saying? Because
Well, we do always ask the question, outside of the gym then, which is your work, what's the thing you have which sort of like just makes, sort of like, just composes you, just gives you a little bit of sort of like, this is my thing to relax and chill and it's mine.
Like I think going to the barbershop is I've always, because the barbershop as well, the reason that I got so close with those guys is because the barbershop's literally across the road from my gym.
Yeah.
So I used to go in the boxing gym, and like when I used to volunteer and coach during like the summer and stuff like that, I'd go and eat my dinner in the barbershop and just chit chat, and so that's how kind of I've become close. So that's one of the things. But outside of that, I'm quite lazy, to be honest. Like I like to just go home and chill and just watch crap TV.
Well,
and
you could do an old-fashioned barbershop, because you've got all the skills of it.
Sometimes I work in there,
He's got all of it there. He could keep that barbershop going.
I know. I gotta keep up with Andrew and them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, thank you very much.
Yes,
again
it's been very good.
for jumping in, because we had our days. Our days. Like I'm thinking, who can we get? I think I need to do better in terms of actually making sure that.
But you've been saying that about lots of things recently.
I mean,
Every time you talk to somebody now, the end of it is always, I can do better.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. It's this
That's good
new,
though. That's
It is this newfound clarity in terms of how I could minimize the sort of like sometimes the chaos in my life.
Well, I think part of it is because we have been blessed. We've been blessed with talking to people like yourself, Ayden, who are, incredibly interesting people, incredibly sort of thoughtful, reflective people who've done well in what they've chosen to do.
Yes.
And, you cannot but gain something from it. So there's a big thank you to you, but there's a big thank you to all the other people we've had as guests on this show. So I've learned so much from people on this. And I think it also tells us about how brilliant so many people are who just lead what we consider to be ordinary lives.
That's it.
They lead in, incredible lives. I cannot tell you the number of people on the podcast, who they were the first. The first this, the first that, the first that. And that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's it. It definitely is a show. I was thinking about this recently. I'm like, we got a show.
But we could do better.
Yeah, we can do better, man. 'Cause, I mean, how are we gonna get to, like on the what do you call it, on the BBC, kind of watchful eye? Cause we need that, what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause you never know. I mean, I'll let me tell you, one of the things I'll probably kind of would be cool is like somebody could be watching this episode and think, oh yeah, who is that little young handsome guy, between those two old guys? Maybe you could front my clothing line or something,
Yes.
But thanks again, nephew.
Yes, thank you very much.
Ayden,
Always a
thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed there.
Because I know you got somewhere else to go after this, innit?
I'm going to do some testing, some strength conditioning, so testing like my speed and my power.
What do you have to do with that then?
Basically, attaches like a device to my foot, and it'll test like my jump height and like my reactiveness and stuff like that. So then obviously I know whether my training is effective.
should be,
Yeah.
What?
It's all technological now, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
I would love to do that, man. I'll probably say.
It's interesting
And
because
do you have someone sort of like do you manage your nutrition then?
to be fair, I don't. I just eat what I want. Because I'm training so much that I don't even need to watch my food.
Yeah.
Like I just make sure that I eat that I'm feeling good, and my weight's on. I'm always on weight, so I just make sure that I'm eating enough to feel good and fuel my training.
Because I said to you at the beginning, I'm amazed you said you're 80k because you do not look 80k.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He looks more than 80k?
No, he looks lighter than 80k.
It looks like
I think you'd be surprised though as well. Like because if I stand next to, and to be fair, I'm not the biggest light heavyweight because, like I said, a lot of time in boxing people will cut from heavier. So you see a light heavyweight, but they're really at 86 kilos.
Yes, and they've come down.
Yeah, and they've come. Or they might be even 90 kilos and they've come down.
Yeah,
Whereas
you lose a bit of strength with that, don't you? They say.
Yeah, like before I was cutting to middleweight, so I was cutting down and I just kept getting injured and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, you know what, as an amateur, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna whatever weight I'm walking around at, that's what I'm gonna fight. And I've got the power for it as well. That was a big thing. Like I said, most of my fights have ended in stoppage, so I'm not
Yeah,
struggling.
because I've
with that.
seen I've seen clips of him pummeling some dude. I'm like, oh Lord, that will leave the lasting. That will leave a lasting impression, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck, man, on the
Thank you.
journey. I mean, we will be watching, and cheering from the sidelines,
Yes.
and seeing how the journey goes, and when you need that team to follow you around, we're here.
Team Ayden there in the
We're here,
audience.
man. We're here,
Yes.
We're here, man.
Trends and talk. Trends